We should never be comfortable where we are. You know, we should always be aspiring to know more and to better ourselves and to improve ourselves, because that's how we improve the world around us.
What happens when you release an album that goes 8 times platinum in the US and even makes you a whopping sum of $40 million? Well, you're expected to make another equally amazing album. But unfortunately, that was not the case for Lauryn Hill. Lauryn Hill was one of the biggest musicians in the 90s, from spending a successful time in the music group to creating a legendary debut album. So it came as a shock to everyone when her music career began to go downhill. When it comes to Lauryn, a lot has been said about the real reason why she quit music. What went wrong? Was it her relationship with Wyclef when he was married, or her association with the cult leader that pulled her away from everyone? I mean, over the years, there have been stories about musicians' downfall or their decisions to leave their music, but Lauryn's own is especially messed up because hers was a literal fall from grace to grass. But before we talk about the ugly part of her career, let's talk about how great she was. Her first experience on the big stage was not a pleasant one, because at age 13, she decided to take her talents to the Apollo stage in New York City to sing the Jackson 5's Who's Loving You. Her nerves got the best of her, and as she struggled to get her act together, she was booed off stage. However, that did not stop her from chasing her dreams, because while in high school, she joined a hip-hop band known as the Fugees, which was founded by her Haitian friend Praz. The initial members of the group were him, Marcy, who was the one that brought Lauryn into the group, and Praz's cousin, and then Wyclef joined the group a year later. Somehow they managed to balance their studies while recording demos and landing pretty neat gigs. 3 different labels offered them a record deal by the end of the school year, and Lauryn even bagged an acting gig in Sister Act 2 alongside Whoopi Goldberg. Sure, her beginning was enviable, but just like other artists, she had to pay the price of fame, which included controversies that pretty much caused her downfall. The first wave of controversy that hit Lauryn Hill was when rumors were circulating that she had commented on white people in 1996, saying that she would rather have her children starve than have white people listen to her album.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
That was one of the reasons things started going south. But she tried to clear up the rumor while she was on Howard Stern's radio show, saying,
I think that it was probably taken out of context. What I was saying is that I make my music for young black youth because I'm a young black youth myself.
Despite the controversy at the time, the Fugees took home 2 Grammys, including Best R&B Performance and Best Rap Album. But, as they say, all good things had to come to an end, because surprisingly, they disbanded at the height of their success. According to Lauryn's former manager, the split happened as a result of creative differences, with Lauryn also saying,
I had intended to be in the group forever until I found myself in circumstances where I felt the inner desire to express myself freely and openly without any constraint.
But was it because of creative differences that they split, or rather a case of a broken heart and a relationship gone wrong? There was also the issue of Lauryn not feeling like she had the group's support when Wyclef was writing his own music pieces. However, when she decided to write her own music, he showed no sign of support for her. And this was the person she turned down a Pepsi commercial for. And also, before the group split, there was a personal conflict between Wyclef and Lauryn. And some say that he's the reason Lauryn does not have a career.
When you in a group and you inside of a 24/7, you're in the studio and you're doing music, you know what I'm saying? And you're like 19, 20 and you catching a vibe. And every day, I don't know if you've seen Lauryn, but this was a hot chick, you feel me?
This was Wyclef's reply in an interview when asked about his relationship with Lauryn. But you see, the tiny problem with him catching a vibe and Lauryn being hot was the fact that Wyclef was already married.
Bombastic side-eye. Criminal offensive side-eye.
Wyclef and Lauryn started dating in the early days of the Fugees and continued dating even after Wyclef got married to designer Marie Claudette. This surely put a damper on the relationship, because it must have been hard seeing the man you love get married to another woman. When Lauryn got pregnant with her first son, Zion, no one knew exactly who the father was, because at that point she was already seeing Rohan Marley. But Wyclef was led to believe that the child was his. And when Wyclef found out the child was not his, things hit a breaking point. When you think of it, it's kind of funny, because the married man was cheating on his wife and then got angry that his supposed mistress was cheating on him and got pregnant by another man. Overnight, Lauryn became a solo artist, but she thrived. Her first album, The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill, sold over 10 million copies and won 5 Grammys. This was an exceptional start for a solo artist, and that's why it came with a ton of pressure that contributed to her downfall.
But it's hard, it's hard balancing and juggling. It's hard, being, the regular person that you are one day and the next day being under public scrutiny, having to live your life, in front of a camera.
It seems like people forgot that Lauryn was not only 23 years old, but also pregnant when her first album dropped. And people put so much pressure on her to do better than she did on her first album, that was enough to make anyone snap. It seems that as things got better for Lauryn, her career was still going to go through a rough time, and that was a lawsuit. In 1998, New Art, a group of musicians who worked on The Miseducation, sued Lauryn Hill, claiming that she used their songs and production skills, but failed to properly credit them for their work. They asked for a partial writing credit on 13 of 14 songs. The suit was settled out of court in 2001. This alone left her emotionally scarred because she paid a sum of $5 million. And to add injury to insult, she also realized that Rohan was already married with 2 kids.
How dare you!
Eventually, she drifted further away and slowly disappeared. Maybe the fact that it seemed like everything was working against her is what led her to the arms of a spiritual advisor called Brother Anthony, who did more harm than good. She was allegedly persuaded to break off relationships with her management, co-workers, and friends by Brother Anthony, a cultist who hurt her career more than it already was when they first met in 2000. In 2001, she resurfaced on MTV Unplugged 2.0. She performed alone and with damaged vocal cords as she had busted her voice during the rehearsal the day before, and the commercial turned out to be a disaster. Lauryn left for Miami to record her second album, which never came to light, because first off, she asked potential collaborators to do it for God, or simply put, she asked them to do it for free. And she kept postponing studio times despite the fact that she flew in artists and lodged them in hotels. Her record label believed in her, which is why they decided to invest in her second album, but it cost a fortune since the album was never made. At some point during the madness, the Fugees got back together, and after realizing that there was a spark there, they decided to record an album. However, the reunion was short-lived because of the same issue that caused them to split up in the past. In 2013, Lauryn rushed to release a single called Neurotic Society, which was a combination of electro and double-time stream consciousness. The single sold 470,000 copies despite how poor the song was. It turned out the reason for the release was that she had been charged for failing to pay $1.8 million in federal taxes and had to serve up to 3 months in prison for it. At this point, Lauryn had no musical career, and it also did not help that she developed a reputation for being unreliable and notoriously showing up late to concerts. She also had more children, bringing the total to 6. And yes, that is a lot. That is probably why she did not have time for her career. In summary, according to Lauryn, unrealistic expectations were one of the reasons she was forced to quit. And it's easy to see how hard it must have been for her to live up to those expectations. Just like she said, she did not handle the fame properly. So, tell me, what are your thoughts? Leave them in the comments.